Lost Planet 2 returns players to an inhospitable planet that humanity is absolutely determined to colonize. In addition to the deadly giant insects native to the area, a civil war over thermal energy, the planet's most precious resource, means there is a lot of fighting to be had. Unlike the traditional progression of Lost Planet, the sequel adopts a more episodic approach that has a lot to offer in terms of volume, but requires human comrades to properly enjoy. You won't find much drama in Lost Planet 2. This is a game about hardened military personnel doing what needs to be done. Characterization is too light to create any attachment to the characters you inhabit as the narrative focus shifts from one faction to another. And if you're immersed in anything, it's a sea of acronyms. There you are on EDM3 working for Nevik, piloting your VS, hoping you have enough TENG to take down that Cat G. It may create a convincing military atmosphere, but it falls to the gameplay to actually entertain you. The bulk of Lost Planet 2's action is categorized under the campaign option. There are missions of varying lengths, comprising chapters within episodes. Each episode focuses on a different faction, and they're played in a linear order. When an episode is completed, you can revisit it anytime you start a new game, earning points that can unlock visual customization options and credits to spend on a stingy slot machine. That's far more likely to hand out silly name tags and emotes than a new multiplayer weapon. Campaign mode supports up to 4 players, and your enjoyment of the game will have a lot to do with whether or not you can recruit actual human beings. Because other players can't join in a mission they haven't reached themselves, and everyone has to join before the game starts, there are some potential headaches built into the system. If you're playing alone, you'll encounter overwhelming evidence that the game is designed as a cooperative online experience. Computer-controlled allies are inept, inadequate, and unreliable, prone to dying off and unable to perform crucial tasks to move the missions forward. In short, if you're playing alone, you're pretty much screwed. The game does at least provide split-screen co-op and system-link gameplay. Neither option is ideal, but it narrowly saves the game from being not worth it for offline users. Online means multiplayer versus, an entirely separate and clearly secondary way to play. The single-player mechanics of gunning, grappling, and data post activating are applied to modes like traditional deathmatch, a capture-the-flag variant with glowing eggs, and others. Fighting other players is only adequate when it's at its best, and some game types, like the ridiculously one-sided fugitive mode, are poorly balanced throwaways. Even more disappointing is the so-called training mode, which, instead of offering instruction and practice with the game's advanced weapons and mech suits, has you memorizing obstacle courses to try for the best times. Unless you're totally bored or burnt out, just stick to the campaign. If you're used to other third-person shooters, Lost Planet 2's controls can feel a bit alien. You can't freely configure each button, but the game does offer multiple schemes. The crowded control layout can be a bit more of a problem, with overlapping commands leading to accidental melee or grappling hook misfires, and some general clunkiness. Despite its somewhat rough feel, you have a pretty broad range of action that lets you put yourself in strategic positions with whatever weapons you've decided to scavenge from the battlefield. The bigger weapons you'll find feel appropriately powerful to use, and encounters with enemy suits and gigantic acrid monstrosities provide genuine challenges and surprises, requiring varied tactics to defeat them. Like the first game, thermal energy you've accumulated can be shared with teammates and converted into health or used to power suits and energy weapons. Besides watching your health, you'll also want to keep an eye on your battle gauge. It goes up when you accomplish objectives and activate data posts, and goes down when you or a team member bites the dust. The ability to respawn after death doesn't help the story, but it does allow you to pass difficult missions without completely replaying them. While most missions rely on repetitive objectives like clearing out the enemy or activating data posts by gratuitously spamming the B button, there are a few unique situations in the game. Fighting off smaller enemies while loading and powering up a gigantic cannon on a high-speed train is a tense and exciting team activity. But again, these interesting moments can only reach their potential if you have friends to help you out in place of the dull and incompetent AI. You'll find excellent visuals in Lost Planet 2, both in terms of design and technical prowess. But you'll also find some obvious flaws. Monsters and machinery tend to look great, while human characters don't feel believable or alive. You'll never see a mouth move or an eye blink, making everyone come across as stiff action figures. Bland voice work doesn't do much to convince you of their humanity either.
Your team is responsible for countless successful missions. You do us all proud.
Though you can count on the bombastic soundtrack to sell you on the game's big, loud action sequences. Lost Planet 2 has many missions, modes, and battles to experience, but it's not accessible without some effort. You'll definitely need to enlist a few allies in order to properly take advantage of the game's co-op focused structure. It's a poor choice for anyone without the means to party up, but there's definitely some potential fun for players who choose to invest in it.
Why don't you chew on this instead?